Good afternoon, Rob.
Good afternoon, Michelle.
We have here the metal inscribed and concentric figures task cards.
Yeah, so this is often in companies like the equivalency work that is in an upper elementary classroom. So, picture a lot of metal or wood insets that are describing both really relationships between figures. And so there's the cabinet of equivalent figures that has all of the different cases of equivalency. It has the metal square or the wooden square that's divided into triangles and also divided into squares and rectangles out to sixteenths. And then there's additional materials that are there that are also considered part of that relationship between the circles. And one of them is squares and circles, and they are like squares in different areas. So a small square and then a large square, then 3 or 4 of them in between, and the same with the circle. So we can use them in a variety of ways. These are task cards that's going to support that work. This is a material that, rather than having a prescribed, this is the exact presentation that you do with it, with a series of ascending circles by area and ascending squares, it gives us a lot of leeway, it gives us a lot of options for what we want to show. There are certainly comparisons of area, there's comparisons for equivalency, but there's also a couple of other kind of neat concepts that we can do. And so, as always, here when we have task cards, we have task cards that are going to allow the teacher to look at the task cards and say, like, okay, this is the concept that I want to show to the student, but then also the student after the presentation, after the teacher is assured that they can work independently, that they can work successfully on their own and be able to find the answers on their own and understand it. This is a nice resource for the teacher to have to sort of like send the child, now that we've done the presentation, now that you've done a few, this is what you can do, these are some of the possibilities, and this is one of those possibilities that you can do with it. So all of the cards, the whole set, is divided really into 3 sections. And the first one is more just talking about their area, so laying them out in descending order, laying them out in ascending order by area. So the child, by this time, has done equivalency work, they've done enough area to understand that, okay, the larger the shape is, the more area it has. From there, it goes through, again, some of the same figures, so we can put, because this is Montessori and it's brilliant, the measurements of the square and the circle they're related to each other, they correlate. So for instance, the square, the 3rd or 4th square, matches the circle. It'll fit inside of its borders. So all of that is called inscribed, whether a figure is inscribed or not. So the second section here is going to talk about, like, is this shape inscribed in the other? Yes or no. So there's a fairly technical geometric definition of what inscribed means. You've gone over it in the presentation, and now the child is able to work with it on their own. And then the last one is concentric. Concentric, just from the Latin, means con with his with, and centric with his center. So concentric means basically they're sharing the same center. So we think of circles as being concentric, like a bullseye, but that actually works for every shape. So squares can be concentric or not. And that's what the last set is going to compare of, is asking the child, is this concentric, is this concentric, is this concentric, yes or no, with the problems on the back. So the child can use the material, can look at it at the card, they've got access to the material, and then also they're writing their answer, they're writing it in their math copy book. So as always, there's always a language component to it as well. So that's the material for the metal inscribed and concentric figures.
Okay, thank you.